Take off the bra, pour a drink. Life's too short. What do you think? We're ditching the rules, turning up the fun. After 50, babe, we've just begun. No filters, no fear. Sipping cocktails, crystal clear. Laughing loud, living free. It's time to own your destiny. You're a braless, lush, living bold. Stories untold, dreams unfold. Sip it up, let loose, be free. This is your time, can't you see? No more people pleasing, no more second guessing. We're talking life, love, laughs, and all the shit they don't mention. So grab a glass, grab a friend, let's shake it up till the very end. No regrets, just one big rush. Welcome to the braless lush.
Can you feel the breeze of the palm trees and the oceans? I feel it, don't you out there? Aloha, Toots. It's your braless bestie and your unhooked host, Laura. Welcome to the Braless Lush podcast, where we ditch the bra and the bullshit and unhook from our limiting thoughts and live our lush. Okay, so what's a lush, you say? Let me explain. Well, I suppose a lush could be a reference to someone who imbibes on booze excessively, but I'm talking about imbibing on the lushes of life, like your big dreams, be it more travel or writing a book or more family time, a new hobby, meeting new people, or just a cup of coffee or tea and some damn peace. Or maybe you don't know what your lush is yet, and you are finding your way. Finding your voice, finding your confidence. And before I forget, if there's something you heard in the show tonight that gave you the little whisper that now is the time, subscribe and like my show, sign up for my newsletter, Unhooked. Yeah, I said it, unhooked, like your bra. Like we always want to take off our bras because you know that oh so good feeling when you take off your bra. Unhooked is my little inbox cocktail where I will be sending you updates on the latest episodes and tips to help you live your lush. Go to thebralesslush.com and click on contact and subscribe and sign up for the newsletter there. Oh, gosh, those breezes are amazing, aren't they? Well, back to reality here in the Lush Lounge Tiki Bar. Welcome, everyone. And as I always say, there's nothing like having a good gal pal to help you along in your lush journey, to help you boost you up, even when your bra might not be doing that great of a job. It does happen. So that's why I have my bestie Colleen Winters with me tonight in the Lush Lounge Tiki Bar. How you doing, Dollface?
Just peachy.
Oh, peachy, you said the magic word. Peachy, because we are whipping up a peachy cocktail here in the Lush Lounge Tiki Bar. I'm excited, and we will get to that in a hot minute. But I want to introduce one of the coolest chicks I know. My girl, Colleen Winters, is a communications veteran turned midlife reinvention queen. God, I love that title. After 2 decades in marketing and communications, mostly in healthcare and education, she packed up her life in the Twin Cities and made a bold pivot by relocating her family to Fargo, North Dakota. Good gracious. I hope there's a tiki bar in Fargo. Is there a tiki bar, Carl?
There is.
Thank God.
There is. Yes.
Thank
yes.
God. So, in the couple of years that followed, Colleen celebrated her milestone 50th birthday. Welcome to the club. And she's been learning to navigate single motherhood after divorce while launching her own business, a Wolfgang Bakery. Woof. Woof. Like Bow Wow. Woof. WOOF. Wolfgang Bakery and Grooming franchise. And I'm thinking that's for canines and not ugly men who look like canines, right?
You got it.
Okay, cool. I would never want to insult the dogs, you know, the real ones, the ones that are actually cute and
Yeah.
loyal. And yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
So now she's embracing her next chapter with humor, heart, and okay, this is my favorite, a no BS mindset. Whether it's corporate survival, co parenting wins with her twins, by the way, or chasing entrepreneurial dreams, Colleen's story is all about listening to that inner nudge, which I love so much. Like I said, that whisper is so important. You have to listen to it. And of course, then having the courage to do something about it. Girl, this is what I am talking about, making that pivot. And this might not be the only one, but hey, Colleen, let's chat. It's nice to see you.
Yes, you too. It's so good to see you, Laura.
Uh,
I said we go way back.
we do. I wanted to chat a little bit about how we met and why we're in a tiki bar tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we met, gosh, how many years ago is that? Probably 15 years ago.
at least. Yep.
I was working for the Minnesota Medical Association,
Mhm.
and you did some consulting for us for some rebranding. And we just, of course, hit it off, two redheads in marketing. And you
Yeah.
came down to the Twin Cities. And of course, we went out to a tiki bar and had a great time. And we've stayed in touch since then. And I'm just so grateful that we have, because it's been wonderful to reconnect in this way. Because here we are 15 years later, like kind of in the same spot in life. And um, it's just so nice to have other women to talk to about being in this place.
Well, that's what I love, and I figured I can't possibly be the only one who's thinking about what's my next thing, what I do next. I've been freelancing as a market researcher for the last 9 years, and some days I stop and think, is that it? And I'm thinking there's probably a lot of women who are stopping and wondering, is that it? So I'm so happy to be talking with you because I'm excited to hear about your journey and your pivots. And for some women, they're not there yet, or there's reasons why they haven't gotten there yet. And I want to help women listen to that nudge. And I always say that we all have responsibility. So it's not like we can just get up and go jump on a plane to the next thing, but what can we chip away at little by little? And I think your story is so cool because what you're doing now is so opposite of what we were working on together 15
Mhm.
years ago, because we both have been in healthcare, and to go
Yeah.
from healthcare to taking care of puppy dogs, I think is the coolest things. Colleen, let's hear from you as far as what you've been up to and
Yeah.
uh yeah, let's hear it because then
Right.
in a little bit we're going to whip up that peachy drink. So
Yeah. Yeah.
let's
I
hear
already
it.
whipped mine up over here, and I did put it in my fabulous at 50 cup, because instead of a tiki mug, I thought, well, there's only so much time to use this particular wine glass. So if I
Gosh,
did turn 50 this year, I'm going to, use it as much as possible. So
well,
here's to
you
you in your podcast. I appreciate you giving women a platform to talk about this, and I think it is so important. And my story is probably no different than so many others, where I knew that I was not in the right place in many, many ways. One was geographically. So I had been in the Twin Cities since after college, and I kind of just ended up there because I finished up my undergraduate degree there and stuck around. but I hadn't grown up there and I didn't have relatives there. I didn't really have a reason to stay there, but I stayed. I'd had one job after another, and that's where I was when I got married and had my boys. So I have twin boys, you mentioned, and as I was raising them later in life, I was um, almost 40 when I had my boys. So I was an older mom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I started to feel like maybe this wasn't the place I wanted to be anymore. I knew I was ready for a change. And I was just feeling that pull to go somewhere else. And I wasn't really sure where that was. But I was also married to somebody who had been born and raised in that area and had never lived anywhere else. And I'd grown up all over the country. So for me, moving was not a big deal. I'd moved all over the Twin Cities. So that's how I kind of kept scratching that itch, was just move to a different place in the Twin Cities, which was easy to do because there's so many different areas to live in. But
And Colleen, what wasn't working for you at the time?
I think it was a lot of things. It was wanting to raise my kids in a place that was just a little bit slower pace. Um, I think I wanted to just have a slower pace myself after over 20 years in a large metro area. This was post COVID. There's a lot of things happening at the time, increasing in crime. And
Mm.
it just felt like if I was going to make a move, that would be the time. And I also was feeling that I wanted to be closer to family and extended family, which, my sister lived in the Fargo area, and I really hadn't even visited here other than one time. They'd always come to visit us in the Twin Cities because my brother-in-law had family there. It just made sense for them to come there and visit. So finally,
Fargo
finally it's a
wasn't a
year.
big Fargo wasn't a
Yeah,
big vacation spot
like,
for you, Colleen?
you guys come visit us. We don't really need to go there. Finally piled my kids in the car one summer and was like, okay, all right, fine, we'll go to Fargo. And I honestly just fell in love with it. I just had this feeling like I kind of like this place. I kind of like you can get anywhere easily. I just had a great feel about it. And something clicked in me like, I think I could live here. And I could
Mm.
see my kids and their cousins, the connection that they had, just thinking, wow, if they could live close to each other, it would be so amazing. And if I could live close to my sister again, because we had in the past, that would really be something special.
Mm.
And why not? Like what's really stopping us? And so that's when I said, I want to do this. And this is also at a time when I'd had some issues in my marriage. We'd been kind of riding that wave of ups and downs, and um, it was really sort of a last resort. Like,
Mm.
well, let's try one more time, but we need to make a change. And so the change was, I want to get the heck out of the Twin Cities. I want to go somewhere else, and we'll give it a try. And so
And
that's what we did.
he was open to it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So we I had to quit my job. I did love my job in the Twin Cities, and I had to quit without having another job lined up. So I had a kind of a certain amount of time to find a new job. It was very nerve wracking, but I had faith that I could do it. And he just kind of crossed his fingers that Target would allow continuing to work remote post COVID because they kind of seemed like maybe they were moving in that direction. And we did it. And so made that big move, relocated to Fargo. And I mean, you can change your location, but that's what I learned is doesn't really repair a broken marriage. So
Certain things stay the same, don't they?
certain things stay the same.
Yeah.
So there was maybe like a brief period of things seemed better because we were like just in a different environment and kind of focused on different things, but we wound up back in the same place that we were. And so at that point I knew that it was time. And I will say, I just want to say one thing, which I think, your listeners are women, that most women know this, that no woman wakes up one day and decides to end her marriage. It definitely comes with a lot of thought, a lot of trial, a lot of, I guess, again and again, trying to make it work. And for me, it was over the course of many, many years. It was a long time coming. So once I finally got to the point where I did it, it was kind of really a lot of things happened in succession at that point in time. So I served him the divorce papers, which was, a huge thing. And then later that year, we put our house on the market. At the same time, I heard about the Wolfgang opportunity, and it was really very random. I got a message on LinkedIn, and it was just wondering, I mean, you get messages on LinkedIn, and sometimes sometimes they're just, I feel like people are kind of a shot in the dark, and it's not really even intended for you. And so I didn't know if that's what this was, but I read it and I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was wondering if I would be, interested in learning more about opening up a Wolfgang bakery and grooming in the Twin Cities. And I thought, well, I'm not in the Twin Cities anymore. It probably looks like I am based on my resume, because I was at that point working for a Twin Cities company, but I was working remote. And so I literally thought about it night and day and just started doing my research. So I was Googling it. I didn't respond for a while, but I was trying to find out everything I could about this company. The more I learned, the more interested I got. So I finally responded back and said, well, I'm not in the Twin Cities anymore. I'm in Fargo, North Dakota, but I am interested in learning more about this opportunity. And that initiated a meeting, which started a conversation that just never ended. And throughout the whole course of that, I just fell in love with the company. But it was one of those things where I was in the midst of selling a house, becoming a single mom, becoming responsible for a mortgage payment on my own. It just honestly probably seemed like a completely crazy thing to do. So I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell a soul about this because
Why not? What were your
I
concerns?
was terrified of having people tell me, you can't. That's crazy. You need to stop. That's not sensible. You have a good job. Why would you even consider that? Everything along those lines. So instead, I kept going down the path, learning more, having more meetings, consulting with people, talking to current franchise owners, just basically gathering all the information that I could before I even mentioned it to anybody else in my life, because I wanted to make sure I was really, really educated in what this was before I put it out there in front of anybody else, even though I was so excited. Like, I wanted to tell everyone. I wanted to shout it up to the rooftops because I hated my job. I was so excited about this opportunity. And I was ready to just jump that day. But it took patience, just like I knew I wasn't happy in my marriage. It took years. I also knew that I had to be patient with Wolfgang. All these changes have taken a lot of time, a lot of planning, a lot of research.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so cool though, that it does happen where opportunities literally do fall in your lap. And if they're nudging at you so much to where you were thinking about it all the time, then you know it's something. There's something
Mm,
there. There's something that is just pushing you to learn more, explore more. And I'm so proud of you for taking that risk, because being in the situation you were in, it's like, oh my God, like one more thing could you possibly add to your situation at the time,
yeah,
between
yeah,
moving and going through a divorce, and you have two boys, and like what more could you do? But I think that's so cool that you still pursued it. Cool that you kept it to yourself also, because you didn't want anybody to kind of shake your mojo and your excitement
yeah,
about all of it.
yeah, yeah. I think there's always that risk of people dragging you down. I mean, there's always also hopefully people who are gonna come alongside you and lift you up. And with me, that's
Mhm.
what ended up happening when I finally did share it. But it did take a little bit of time and a few conversations, to and that was with divorce, with moving, with job change, with everything. Initially, of course, met with shock, fear,
Mhm.
lots of questions, and why would you want to do that? But I think in the end, then people have come alongside me, people in my life who love me have come alongside me and supported me. And I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah, that's so cool. Okay, we need to toast to that. So I'm gonna go
Yeah,
ahead
we need a
and
cocktail.
whip up this cocktail here. Let's see if I could do it
Okay.
without spilling all over the place and whatever. Okay, everybody, we are going to be making Laura's Luau Peach Lush. Really, I should say it's Colleen's Lush, because it's really her idea of what cocktail we're making today. But I love alliteration. So we'll call it Laura's Luau Peach Lush. And maybe you'd find this in Hawaii. I don't know, but it sure is tasty tropical, because I already made a practice one. So I already know what it tastes like. So here's where we start, everybody, with 1.5 ounces, working around the mic here, 1.5 ounces of peach bourbon. I never had peach bourbon before. And Colleen, you said you've been making this over
I've
the
made this a
years.
few times after I had it on a vacation in Key Largo, and I didn't know the measurements. So I just saw the ingredients on the menu. So just kind of guessed at them, but
Yeah.
it was
Well,
delicious. So
I'm
had to
sure it
try to just,
was. You got to make it to the way you like it, but
yeah.
I had Chat GPT write me up a
Yes.
recipe,
Yes.
just because just so I wouldn't be on the floor like halfway through our conversation. That was my biggest concern. Okay, so we need a 1/2 ounce of peach schnapps, and then we need let's see, 3 ounces of white wine. So something crisp is good, like a Sauvignon Blanc or a Pinot Grigio, or I actually have a blend here. Is that two? I think that was I think that was two, but hey, if it was three and now
You
it's four,
know,
what
it's
the
all
hell?
good.
It's all good. Okay.
It's all good.
Then last but not least, we've got an ounce of peach puree. This is an ounce and a half shot glass. Okay. So let's dump all that in. It's kind of syrupy if you've never had peach puree out there. And then the fun stuff happens. Now, shaky, shaky on your cocktail shaker. And you can always do this without a bra if you want to. Your man might really, really like it if you're shaking up a cocktail without your brassiere on.
That's
I
right.
don't know. So we'll see. All right. So let's shake this baby up here. All right, here we go. Okay. I didn't lose my brassiere, so that's good. Okay. Got that all shook up, as the king would say. It's like Blue Hawaiian. Did you ever see that movie, Blue Hawaiian, with Elvis?
Yes, a long time ago.
All right. So I'm pouring our peachy drink in this. It's clear now so it's hard to see, but it has a tiki face on it.
Oh,
This
cute.
clear glass here. Let's pour this puppy in here. Oh, I hear some extra to spare.
Yeah,
Like
that looks lovely.
And then I'm just gonna top it off with a little bit of lime flavored sparkling.
Nice.
And you can garnish with a peach slice or a mint slice, but I just so happen to have some
Look at
maraschino
you.
cherries
Fancy.
in the fridge with this little swizzle stick that I have here. So bottoms up,
Cheers.
love. Cheers to you.
Yeah, we were saying,
So
texting
good.
before the show, saying, I wish we were actually together.
I know.
It
I
probably
know. It
could
would
be
be
trouble. Could be trouble, though.
It could be trouble.
But
I
next
guess
time I think we should try.
we should. Maybe
We could
I'll
go-
just have
we
to
could
do
take a
it.
trip to Chicago anyway. I haven't been to Chicago in a long time. It'd be fun.
What's that?
I haven't been to Chicago in a long time.
Come on up. We have lots of
Yeah.
tiki bars up here.
Yes, I'm sure you do.
In fact, I have one 5 minutes down the block from me. It's called Halakahiki. It's pretty well known.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But we have
All
a few
right.
tiki bars in the Chicago area. Well, that was
Yeah.
delicious. I love this recommendation. So
Good, right?
thanks, Colleen.
Yeah.
Next time, yeah, definitely
Something,
together.
Yeah.
Mhm. So as you're getting yourself geared up to make this move, and
Mhm.
like, what was the process that you went through to actually say, this is what's good for me, knowing that you had other people involved, obviously, that you had to think about? How did you kind of work through that?
It's a great question. There are a few factors that really came into play of making that final decision. One was knowing that I could not continue at my current job. And there were reasons why. It was not a healthy environment. So it was pretty toxic. After there were some layoffs, and the team that I worked for was disassembled. I guess, like, a lot of those people were let go, and I just kind of found myself in a role that I wasn't hired for. I didn't have a job title. I didn't know what exactly my role was. Swapped out between different leaders. I knew that I needed to find something new, and it kept deteriorating to the point where it was affecting my physical health.
Oh,
And I think I actually stayed longer than I should have. But I was actively job seeking. And for anybody who's worked full time, raising kids, managing a household, whether you're married, whether you're a single parent, no matter what, if you're also trying to search for a job at the same time, it's a lot. So I was job hunting, as much as I possibly could at the time. And I really wanted to find something local in Fargo because I knew I was missing that connection with people in person. So I I did end up getting some interviews. It was harder to find something locally because obviously it's a smaller market. So there
Mm-hmm.
wasn't as much coming up in marketing. But when things did, I did eventually, get some interviews. And but this is something that you and I have talked about too, Laura, where I found myself at my age getting the interviews, but not getting the job offer.
Yep.
I knew I was qualified for these jobs, and even here in Fargo, a smaller city, um, very reputable organizations, getting all the way to the final round of interviews, even being invited back a second time for added roles, and finding myself ghosted. Things that
It's
it's
real. It's
it's
real.
been very eye opening, and whether it was related to my age or not, I started to realize that I don't think this is the path for me. I feel like I knew I wanted to do something different, and I thought I think this is the time because this doesn't seem to be happening for me.
Mm-hmm. And when you think about how
Mhm.
much longer we have to go
Yeah.
in the workplace, so
Yeah.
I'll be 55 in September, and I just
Yep.
think, oh my gosh, I have 10 more years at minimum
Mhm.
for retirement. And now I think for our age group, full retirement is 67 now, I
Right.
believe.
Mhm.
So, it's like, how miserable do you want to be
Yeah.
for all these years yet? It's a
Right.
long time.
Yeah, you can find something and you can try to stick it out, but is that what you really want to do for the rest of your career? Um, a friend of mine who actually I would love to introduce you to her. Her name is Trisha, and she's somebody you should interview for your podcast because she has completely turned her life around
Huh.
in her 50s as well and has an incredible story to tell. But I'll let her tell it. But she's been an inspiration to me, and she at one point gave me this card with a quote on it that said, "We only make this trip once, and we have to make it count." And it's just probably didn't think much of it when she gave me this card, but I hung on to that for dear life. Like stuck it on my bulletin board, carried it with me from my house in Minnesota to my first house in Fargo to this house in Fargo. I've kept that in front of me because it's absolutely true. We make this trip once, and like we can be miserable, or we can make a change. And I knew when this opportunity came along that it wasn't that email seemed random, but I think nothing really is random. I think it happened for a reason at that time. And it felt like a time that absolutely was crazy because I've never owned my own home without somebody else. I've never been responsible for a mortgage and two children by myself, except for this time in my life. So I'm going to go open a business at the same time. It does sound kind of nuts, but it also now makes complete sense because nothing else actually gave me any opportunity to grow and to potentially increase my income. I I feel like any other route I took, I probably would have been really stuck.
Stuck is the one of the worst places to be, I think,
Absolutely.
and the fact that I think yeah, it does sound crazy, but I think the fact that everything else was kind of in a tizzy for you with, again, going out on your own basically and not having a safety net, like, what the heck? Might as well what's one more thing? Just throw it all out there
Yeah,
and
like what's the
take the
worst
leap.
that can happen?
Yeah.
I feel like we can always I think what I've learned in life is that we can always recover from mistakes, right? I mean, I've made plenty and I'm still here.
Yep.
We pull
Like it
ourselves out from them and we find a way to come back and we learn from it and move on. So, and hopefully come back stronger and smarter and and can make wiser decisions in the future. So, yeah, I'm super excited about Wolfgang. Everything with this company has been amazing. So, the big thing about it, and along the lines of the question that you asked about what was kind of the thing that made me just finally decide to do it is it aligned with my values too. And I knew I needed to do something that I was going to wake up in the morning and be excited to do. And that this I've every day I've woken up and I've been excited about it. Like I want to do this work, I want to work on my business. I'm a crazy dog lady, and so it's perfect.
Yeah, it is perfect, and when you are in a position where you just can't get out of bed or feel like you don't have any reason to get out of bed, of course, you have your kids, but it's you're doing for other people versus doing for you, and as your friend said, you only get one go around,
Yeah.
and tomorrow isn't promised, and as we get older, I think we realize that more and more. And when if not now, when? So I give you so much credit for just doing it, taking the leap, and like you said, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some of the best things can happen instead. So to focus on the good things that could come out of it, I think is so cool that you did that, and you just never know where it's all going to go. I mean, seriously, did I ever think I'd be sitting behind a tiki bar
Yeah,
doing a podcast,
exactly. Exactly. Yep. You went for it, and I love that. You're making it happen.
making it happen? That's right. I certainly could have picked any other angle to talk about how to just literally and figuratively unhook from from the BS
Mhm.
and figure out, well, how do I want to live this next chapter? And I hope that it's being done in a fun, encouraging way. That's certainly my goal. I don't know where it'll go, but wherever it goes, it goes. But everything's a learning experience. And just from your perspective, it's I think it's so important that you do things that do align with your values, and I think that that's what's important because we know how soul-sucking corporate America can be.
Yes, yes. I learned that corporate America is not for me, but you know what? I It was an experience that I hadn't really had in my life, and now I've done it, so can check that box and move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, because Wolfgang is a franchise, is
It's
that
a
right?
franchise. Yeah, yeah. It's a privately owned company, but it is a franchise. Mhm. So I've got the support of the corporate office, but I'll own my own business. So
And so what kind of services and goodies will you be offering?
The reason I fell in love with Wolfgang, if you go to Wolfgang Bakery and Grooming Instagram, and you'll see it's it's there's retail and then there's grooming and bathing services. So boutique spa services for dogs. So all of the grooming services, but there's also the retail side where there's these all natural custom bakery items. So you'll find just the cutest little dog treats that you've ever seen, and all all kinds of treats. There's freeze dried food, raw food, toys, and now the newest thing that they've launched this summer is actual beauty products for dogs. So
Oh,
like detangler, things like that. So you can actually, keep your dog looking and smelling great at home too in between
wow.
groomings. Yeah. But you walk in the door and it's all pink chandeliers. I love it. Yeah. So you'll have to check it out. I think there's probably some in the Chicago area, but if not, you can come visit me in Fargo.
I would love to do that. It just sounds so posh for these pups.
It's very posh. Yes.
Mm.
Dogs deserve to be pampered and have a great experience. And so, yeah, we want to take care of them.
What kind of dogs do you have, Colleen?
So I have he's a mutt. He is a rescue dog who is 27% Chihuahua according to his DNA test, but he looks more like a Schnauzer. So he's a terrier shepherd mix. But I've had him for a year now, and another thing that was kind of a linchpin in my decision was my dog of 14 years, who was like the sweetest dog in the world, passed away last June.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
That's the worst.
it was so hard. It was just at the time we were selling the house. The divorce had been finalized. Things were going terribly at my job, and I was considering the Wolfgang opportunity. And that was another piece of the puzzle where I realized, wow, dogs are so important to people. And, I realized how important my dog was to me. I always knew how important he was to me, but it made me realize I they're such a big part of our lives. And it was kind of what that last piece of the puzzle that made me decide, like, yep, I think there's a reason that this happened and that I know I need to dedicate the next chapter of my life to people and their dogs.
Yeah, I think you're so right though that nothing is an accident, that everything has happened for a reason. Like the fact that you and we had kept in touch over the years since our project, but then I saw on LinkedIn that one day where all of a sudden announcing, I'm thrilled to announce that I have a new job. I'm the new owner of Wolfgang Baker. I'm like, what is she? Say what? She was
What's
working in
happening?
healthcare and oncology and now poof, what major pivot. So if it weren't for that, we weren't I'm not to say we wouldn't have kept in touch, but you and I would not be talking here
Yeah.
in the Lush Lounge at the tiki.
Yes.
Um so so what do you think about 50? So now that you've joined the club,
Oof.
what
Yeah.
thoughts do you have? You're new in your 50s. I'm almost halfway through, but what are your thoughts about entering into this decade?
Great question. I'm I'm excited to be in this decade. And it's surreal. I think part of my brain hasn't quite accepted it yet because I believe my 40s were really a blur. And I think
I'm not laughing at I'm not
yeah,
laughing
no,
at
and totally. I'm like,
it's yeah,
sometimes I'm like, wait, what? I'm 50? Wait, I can't. That's not doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute in my head. I don't think of myself that way. Um, I don't want to accept it. But and really my 40s were kind of a blur. I think it's because I had my twins when I was 39, and it literally, that 10 years is like, whoa, what just happened? So that that just kind of woof, it came, it went, and all of a sudden I'm 50. Like I don't know what happened the last 10 years. But I feel like this decade is my decade, because this is the decade where I can actually focus on myself. I mean, yes, I'm a mom first. My boys are my life, but I also have a business now. I'm a business owner. Um,
Entrepreneur.
I'm Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I can say that now. I've started taking Pilates classes. There's a lot of things that I've neglected for so many years, and there's so many things about myself that I haven't learned and explored. Um, and I feel like this is a decade where I want to take time to travel and just focus on building friendships, and just enjoying life outside of work, and discovering who I am. And at 50, it's a number. Like, it doesn't bother me. So I'm thrilled. It's fabulous at 50.
There you
Laura,
go.
how
Cheers.
about you? How about you? Are you loving it?
Well, I'm sitting behind a tiki bar in the Lush Lounge in, in my family room right now. Maybe, yeah. So I agree. 50, when I turned 50, well, it was COVID. It was COVID year. It was
Oof, yeah,
2020.
yeah,
So I got no big party or anything like
yeah,
that. But when I turned 50, at that point, in my head, I was thinking, okay, fine, it's 50. And then I don't think it was until 51, 52 where it started to sink in
yeah.
that I was in my 50s, and like it makes my teeth hurt to say I'm 50 something, because like
Yeah.
you said, I don't I don't feel 50.
Yeah.
My brain is still somewhere in my maybe late 30s, early
Right.
40s somewhere.
Mhm.
I still think of
Something.
myself as that person because I ballroom dance for a hobby. So I
Yeah.
started when I was 40. I still think I'm 40. I'm still waiting to go back down to my 40-year-old weight though too.
Yep.
That's like a whole
Yep.
nother thing. Menopause. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Um, but given that I'm coming up on 55, I still can't believe it. Honestly, I don't feel like I'm 55. I don't feel like I'm looking or dressing like an old lady. Like when we were younger, 50 was old, or at least it looked
Yeah.
old. 50-year-old women looked old.
Mhm.
And now it's just a different time. And
Yes.
we're trying to make a way for ourselves in our 50s where we're not accused of being old ladies, and that we should just kind of shrivel up and put on the moo you know,
That's right.
and wear our house slippers. I think
Well, it's for us.
yeah, exactly. But I think for me, this year in particular, and again, because I've been working for myself for quite a while now, over 9 years, and now I'm looking to do something different or mix things up with what I'm already doing. And I'm really just throwing a lot out there.
Mhm.
Like, I believe that you can throw spaghetti on the wall,
Yeah.
but get clarity out of it.
Mhm.
So that's what I've been doing this
Yeah.
year, because I have the other podcast, the Desperate
Yep.
for Diagnosis
Mhm.
podcast, and it's been fulfilling and rewarding. And now I'm doing presentations and talks from what I've learned from those interviews. But
Uh-huh.
now I feel a bigger purpose as far as
Yeah.
helping women over 50. Ageism, though, like you said, that is a thing. And so we are in a position, I believe, to create the opportunities for ourselves
Yep.
because we're not able to get to the opportunities that are out there in a traditional job sense. So I believe that we have the power to create the opportunity.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. I agree. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that, sister.
And I think as women, we need to support other women who are doing that too. So I feel like when I see other women trying something new, putting something out there, um, I just want to fully support them. And like I encourage all women to do that too. Like that's what we need to support each other and not judge each other. And like, just, we all should be trying new things and um, putting it out there. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's a different world now. There's so many ways to earn an income and there's so many different opportunities, and it's not the same world that it was when like we started our careers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sure isn't. So Colleen, what would you recommend to a woman 50 plus? It could be a woman in her 60s, could be even older. I don't know. I would love to get like an 80 or a 90-year-old on my show and learn their lessons as well. But what would you say to a woman who's in this kind of limbo in a lot of ways, that she wants to make a move but is afraid to? And again, we all have responsibilities, whether it's
Mhm.
parents on one side or still kids, or some of us like our age. I have friends who have grandkids already,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they're helping care for grandkids, and then they're still working and they have husbands
Mhm.
and whatnot. So again, we can't just take off and do whatever. But what advice would you offer for women who are they're getting the nudge maybe, but not going for it?
Yeah. I think I would say, first and foremost, that your next chapter really doesn't have to make sense to anyone but you. And that was the case for me. It didn't make sense to everyone, but it felt right to me. And in the end, that's really what mattered. Um, and I think pivoting really doesn't have to be loud and dramatic. It just has to feel aligned. It can start with, and you talked about this too, Laura. It can start with a quiet whisper. And if you're listening for that and you follow that, then you may just find that path that you're looking for. And it may not be a huge leap. It may just be a new hobby that or interest that you're looking for, something that ignites something, a new passion in you that you've been missing in your life. I think something too that was really important to me was that research planning and patience are really underrated acts of courage. So you need to, before you take that leap, like you said, Laura, you can't just, decide, oh, I want to do this and then boom, go do it. Make sure you do take the time to learn all you can about that path, that change. One thing that I think, I love that you're doing a podcast, because what I did through every change I made was listen to hours and hours, probably hundreds of hours of podcasts. That was literally my education. I think I don't know if you can get like a degree in divorce, but you can. I probably have one because I listened to divorce podcasts for years. And I've done the same with um, entrepreneurship. I did the same thing when I knew I was leaving my job, and I wanted to educate myself on the best. These are the steps I needed to take to leave, for my finances. And then the other part of that is also making sure that you build the right team of people. So whether it's a financial planner that you need to have, I found mine on Instagram and she's amazing. Um, or a therapist or a life coach. So just making sure that you have the right people there to come alongside you and give you the information and the guidance that you need to make sure you've got everything lined up before you take that big leap. But
Yeah,
don't.
because there's risks and then there's risks.
Mhm.
Some risks need to be more calculated and, like you
Right.
said, researched and well thought out, because it wasn't just you, it was your boys that you had to be concerned about and thinking through what would be good for them, but still feeling like you have to consider yourself and
Yeah.
what you want out of your life. So, yeah, I think that's great advice, where some days we just wanna say, you know, "F it," and we're done, we're out, but not everyone can do that. Some people can, but not everyone can, and we don't wanna make harsh, rash decisions, but
Yeah.
some people do get to their breaking point, and that's how things are handled, and that's fine as long as
Yeah.
they can manage through the aftermath of that, and hopefully it all works out. But I think it's great that you took the time, but it doesn't sound like you overanalyze, because we can get stuck in analysis paralysis and then we do nothing,
Yes.
or we are doing too much research, or we are,
Yes.
changing our mind. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. At some point, you just
Mhm.
have to pick one and go.
Yep. Yep. Don't wait too long. Don't wait too long. And I did say that. Like, I think I waited maybe too long to leave the job that I was miserable in, and it was affecting my health. And there are times when you know you're in a bad situation and you know you're ready for something different, and sometimes you do just need to take the leap without waiting years.
Yeah, because time's a flying, and
Very.
I don't know about you, but I feel like the older I get, the quicker time flies. We're already mid-year
It
already,
it
and I'm
does.
thinking to myself, what have I done?"
I don't know where the time goes anymore. Yeah, it's crazy.
So when do you think you'll be opening up your store?
So we're planning to open in the fall. Right now, we're waiting on our permits to be finalized with the city, and then once we have finalized permits, we'll have a construction plan, and so we'll have an actual more firm date for opening, but it's looking like early November. So
Okay.
I've just been taking this time and, kind of enjoying, some time with my boys this summer. We're heading to Florida on Monday. I've
Oh,
got training there for Wolfgang, so I'm doing an extended trip and spending a week there with my boys, and this is something I've never done in my life. I've never had time where I'm not working full time and just enjoying life a little bit with my kids. So, um, you know, if you can ever do that in your life, you can find a way. I would encourage you to do that too. I know it's not always possible, but did not think it was possible for me to do it. And I managed to figure out a way to make it happen. It's going to be really hard when I do actually have to go work in my store every single day.
it probably won't, Colleen, because
It will be. I'm excited. Oh, I'm so excited to
you
be there
will
for
love it,
Victoria.
and you know what I think is so important too is that I I'm sure that your boys having to adjust to a new situation between yourself and their father, I'm sure that hasn't been easy, but what I think is so commendable on your side is that you made a decision, you did think about your kids, you did the research, and they're seeing their mom be fearless and bold and be an entrepreneur. I think that's wonderful for them to grow up seeing their mom in that capacity kicking ass. And I hope it reflects on them in terms of down the road what they see in a partner, or if they get married and they want kids, that they want to be with someone who's, I don't wanna say they wanna marry their mother, but somebody who has the who has the goals and the values that you did, that can instill the same in their
Oh,
children. So I
thank
think,
you. I appreciate that so
yeah,
much.
I think that's wonderful. Well, anything else, Colleen, that you would like to make sure that our luscious, fearless sisters out there know about in terms of taking the leap, or about being 50 something?
I know. I think just do it. Just be fearless and fierce and just do it. And I will say, be Laura, please put my contact information in the show notes. I am happy to talk personally one-on-one with anybody. Like I love talking to people about whether it's taking a leap to start a franchise, start a new business, get divorced, whatever. Like I said, I think I know a lot about divorce now. So um if anyone needs a person to talk to, I'm happy to chat. So please feel free to share my information, and I'm happy to just talk to anybody who feels like they might need um a person to kind of help them, support them if they're looking to make a big change in life.
Well, that might be your next business, Colleen, a divorce course. Uh,
I have thought about it. Maybe that's my next chapter after this one.
yeah, a divorce course. I mean, courses seem to be the way of the world these days.
They do.
Everyone's got a
They
course.
do. Yes.
Everyone's got a course. Well, Colleen, thank you so much for being with me tonight.
Thank
It's
you,
been
Laura.
so amazing hearing your story and being so generous with your time and telling us more about your story. And so I hope, again, my luscious sisters out there who are listening, I hope this gives you some encouragement and motivation, inspiration to think about what your next is. And again, even if it's just that little thing, I know for myself that just a little bit of momentum, one little move makes me feel so much better and less in my head, because I'm actually doing something towards my next goal or my next thing. So just don't think that you have to make the big fancy move right away. Just do something small. Get yourself in a good place. Again, momentum is everything. So, Colleen, thank you again.
Thank you, Laura. So good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Well, that's all for now, my luscious sisters. If you are interested in our drink recipe, our luau peach lush, it will be on my website. I'll put a link to it so that you can grab that recipe. And I want to thank my bestie Colleen for being with me. I appreciate you sharing your lush journey with us. And everyone, thanks so much for listening. Like and follow the show. Leave a lush review if you would. Don't forget to sign up for Unhooked at the bralesslush.com and click on contact and subscribe. Love you, my luscious sisters, and meow for now.
Welcome to the braless lush.